I'm Kimberly Jensen. I'm about to go into one of the most important tools, I think, that exists for actors, and that's breaking down a script and script analysis. Often actors skip this step of script analysis and jump straight to performance. And the problem with that is that you don't get under the skin of it, and then often an actor will end up with this kind of surface approach, consistently surface. And so the way to begin the depth, the best way to begin to find the depth, is to go into the material and to discover it inside there. In this material, in any script, in any scene, lies clues and dynamic energy that we can hold on to and we can make true, real within ourselves. I don't see it enough in spoken about. Often in our work, in our world, everything's quick, we've got YouTube, we've got all of these different ways to get the 2-minute soundbite and that's it and we're done. And we're not spending enough time really examining with an open heart the understanding of something real and tangible. And how can we relay anything to the audience if we don't understand it intimately? We're going to be working with Neil LaBute's Bash. I love this material because not only is he an amazing playwright, but there's so many metaphors in his material and there's so much depth there. So I thought it'd be really fun. Roman and Brian again, Roman Banfield, Brian LaFleur, lovely actors. I absolutely love working with them. There's so many different ways to break down a script, and today we're going to talk a little about script breakdown, or a lot about script breakdown. I love to read a play at least once first before I even begin to break it down, so I know beginning, middle, and end. It's so worthy to really understand it because everything is motivated by the behavior and the actions of the character and what the character says. And so remember that history justifies behavior. So if you don't understand why a character does what they do, the best thing to do is to read the whole script or the whole play, and you'll really get some clues. A script is laden with clues and dynamic, interesting thoughts and ideas and metaphors that give us the meaning and the understanding and lead us to our interpretation. Brian was telling me, how many times do you like to read a script?
I like to always read at least 3, the first time as a first-time audience member. I take it in, I'm there, I'm, feeling it for the first time. And then the second time I start to, kind of look for what's going on, why is this, looking for the whys. And then the third time, now I kind of have a good understanding and then do it as my character, So I go through those 3 stages.
Find that identification.
Yeah, and then after that third time, then I can go in and dive into breaking down because I feel like I have a whole understanding of the piece.
Wonderful. I love it. What about you, Roman?
I definitely read it the first time as an audience just to feel it, to see it, and just whatever happens. And then as I go back over it, I seem to kind of go to different parts. I'll like read a bit and then I'll stop. And then I'll go to a different part and then I'll come back and I'll read it and I kind of like come at it from all these different angles.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I also do that. I actually was encouraged to do that by my mentor, George Shanoff, the Chekhov technique. George used to tell us, read slow, read slow. When an actor comes to me and says, I'm dyslexic or I'm ADD, I go, great, you're going to be great. Because you actually want to read just sort of slowly, really looking and understanding. I remember long ago, I heard William Hurt said that anytime you go over anything that seems like you're being general about something, that anything general is no good. That everything must be specific. And so my feeling, I thought that was such a brilliant quote, and I didn't really get the quote completely, but I think it's a brilliant concept, and I ran with that concept. I was a young actor when I heard that. And I would say, my God, then everything I say has to be specific. It has to be real inside me. And not only that, but the truth is that if a character's going to say a line, and you don't understand that line, it would never come out of you. So you have to find that understanding inside you so that you understand the source of where that line is coming from. At the very beginning, do you want to name one of the specifics in the script of Bash?
Obviously it just starts right away. So there was this big bash. I'm obviously going to have connections to to me, what I immediately think is this room full of people. What did it look like? What the lights? What was that going on? The sound of the space. All of that is obviously a very specific memory in his mind.
I also think of bashes. I think most of us are either totally excited to go to a party or terrified to go to a party, but it elicits a very, very extreme emotion, and it's an event. Events stimulate us. They trigger us.
Yeah,
they evoke.
Yeah.
They evoke experience.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about the name. Okay, so what do you think of bash, the name? What does it mean? Why is it called bash?
Can be a pretty violent action, but in this part they talk about a party.
Well, then there's another meaning where physically you bash something, and that also happens, and it's a very violent action that happens later on in the script.
Both things are big events, though. You know.
The next metaphor would be to look at, how does my character do this? How does your character bash? How does your character bash? And I also love to look it up in the dictionary. I like to take words and just look them up and find the definitions, because the definitions give us another level of depth.
Bash. To strike violently. To attack with blows. A violent blow or knock. Or a party, a festive good time.
All of those happen in the script, don't they?
Yeah. The whole script is kind of surrounded around this party that they're all going to, this bash, as they even call it in the script. But the script takes a very violent turn when a group of guys removes themselves from the party and go and violently beat a gay man to death, which is obviously very, very terrible. So they literally, with their fists, bash this person in this very violent way. And interestingly enough, in that scene, the characters are having a really good time, again, like it's a party, like it's a bash. So it funnels through lots of parts of the script.
Why do you think he keeps it from her?
I think that there is a line that he crosses when he goes and he brutally attacks and murders somebody that he knows that, logically he knows that that's not accepted by normal society. But he has his kind of cohort that, helps him along to do these things. But in the kind of way that he feels justified, I think that he knows that the world doesn't view it the same way. And so I think he keeps it a secret for that reason. And I think that a lot of times as human beings, we are disturbed by things that we see in ourselves, outside ourselves. And he has formulated this idea of the world and this idea of himself, that seeing this thing that represents something in himself that he can't come to terms with. It's so threatening to his idea of himself in the world that the only way to get that out is to be violent towards it and to attack it and to get rid of it.
So interesting about John. What do you think about the fact that he has a tremendous attraction to the character Sue, his girlfriend? He has tremendous attraction. And I'm thinking that maybe when he sees these two gay men, that he feels a little bit of envy or perhaps feels threatened. And it threatens his love for her.
Yeah, I definitely think that, it threatens his, because the way I get it is that his love for her comes back into his idea of who he is as a man. He talks a lot about the way she looks and about how attractive she is as that determines his value. He talks about it a lot in such poetic terms. It's so perfect and he loves her so much and everything seems to be this fantasy to him, this fantasy world that he's created.
What struck me about the script is that the women decide to wear their dresses, even though the men aren't dressed, they're going to dress later because they feel like they just want to look hot, even if they're going into a gas station getting a candy bar.
Yeah, I think for Sue, it's about pleasing him, looking good for him, kind of, so he stays attracted to me, so he's, so I'm just doing that so he, stays with me. I think that's why she does it,
And wants you.
yes, keeping his eyes on me, kind of thing. What I found interesting was like when they first meet, you know, it's there. He has a fight with her ex-boyfriend, and it's a violent act, you know. And she says she's never seen it before, but I feel it kind of excites her. And then even when he gets that spot of blood on his shirt, she's excited by this kind of, even though I feel like she doesn't want to condone violence or anything, but it excites her, and it's like something deep down that she maybe doesn't like to admit that.
She's very primal, and so
Yeah.
is he, and that's what's so fascinating about the script. We're going to go line by line, and we're going to just sort of break it down. And okay, here we go.
So there was this big bash.
Party,
Bash, whatever, in the city. That's what we came down for, this get-together. That's why we did it in the first place.
Say this differently.
Party, bash, whatever, in the city. That's what we came down for.
Say that different.
That's what we came down for.
Say it again different.
That's what we came down for. This get-together.
Now, what did you hear different when you said it now differently?
Well, I mean, I guess I heard different things different times. You know, sometimes it's more of like a congenial nature, and you know, this is what I'm talking about. Another time, it's more of this is important. Like this is what we can. Like this is there was an importance around this event, and I want you to get that. So it just kind of depended.
You know what jumped out at me?
Yeah.
What jumped out at me is the word "the thing."
yes,
Right.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Okay, young lady, good.
Yeah.
Speak up. Anytime.
Thing, it rang true.
The thing. So
Yeah.
what's the thing?
Thing.
Mhm.
What is the thing?
There's the get-together.
Yeah, but it's also
the event,
Mhm.
the thing,
there's other things in the thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to talk about that thing. So
Mhm.
you're not worried about protecting it because you're going to open
setting
up
up for it.
later. You're
Yeah.
setting,
Mhm.
he's setting us up to hear about something that happened. So as we had analyzed this, one of the, while we're doing the first read and we go slowly, one of the most wonderful things is to actually have a connection with our partner. So what we would do also after we got through quite a bit of analyzation is we're also looking to see if do you have any labels or judgments on the role. We want to try to release any judgments. You know, I didn't pick up anything. Roman isn't judging this guy. It's a horrible act. He's not condoning the act of the violence. He's going to see the character as human rather than, you know, we love that we have names for people that are very violent.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that because then we lose the humanity. We lose the opportunity to expose all the dark side of that, because we try to, as actors, we try to protect ourselves, don't we? We don't want everybody to see all our ugly stuff. So we often go, oh, that person's like that, but I'm not like that. And so that would be that wouldn't give the character, grant their humanity. Instead, we say, gosh, I observe this behavior, and a lot of it is bad behavior. How do I step into that life and understand it? I have to look into it with compassion and also without condemning that character as well. It doesn't condone the behavior, but rather it allows us to step into the thinking of where that character can come from. We can't really change anything or anyone without first accepting them. I'm actually working on a tool that I have in my book, Acting with Impact, that's called Playing the Love. And how do we play the love? We have to get into the why. So I'm going to ask again now, why might you be violent?
I believe that I have a latent homosexuality that is repressed, and I feel like I was raised in a family environment where I couldn't express the very core of my being, and that is so painful that I'm never allowed myself to feel that pain. I've never allowed myself to express it.
Do you think that you would be gay if you were allowed to express it?
No, honestly, I don't. I just think that it's feelings towards that, and it's and it's like a
I get what you're
collapsing
saying.
of the soul in a way. Yeah.
So there's a part of you that was never expressed as a child that doesn't allow you to see love in others. What kind of love do you feel then towards your girlfriend?
That it's right. That it is, the love is, she makes me feel like I'm the man that I'm supposed to be. Does that make sense?
That's wonderful. It's always about specifics. And that's the crucial thing about really getting underneath the skin of a character and making sure that you're not playing a label or a surface assessment of the character. So now I want to ask for what happened, and he's going to use his imagination. We know what's in the script. Sometimes it's in the script and you can find something that happened or a word or a line that leads you to believe and understand a specific moment that occurred to the character that made the character the way they are. But there's always one event that shapes us completely. And I bet all of you could name something in your life, in your childhood, something that happened that triggered something, a choice in your life that changed you or set you on a course, and you're still on that course, or you're still overcoming the course. And so what happened?
What happened in my life?
Yeah, in your childhood as the character John, what happened that made you aware that you had to shut that part of you down? Was it your father? Was it your mother?
I think it was both. My father ran a household where anytime as I was young, I maybe wanted to do something like play dress up, and I was admonished for that, really punished harshly for wanting to put on a dress. I thought maybe that was, that would be fun. I put some makeup on. I got into my mom's makeup, but I was really punished really severely for that because they really wanted to stop what they saw as a threat of me becoming gay later on, even though I was just kind of exploring the femininity there that I saw that seemed exciting. Also, I was raised, I wasn't ever allowed to express myself creatively in any way. My dad would literally cut my hair every 2 weeks exactly how he wanted it. And I always wanted to grow it out, but he would never let me, and he forced me to never have any sort of expression of my soul as I saw it.
And this is true of the character in the material. And so he's grabbing from the material some truths, some imaginary ideas. I think it's a wonderful idea that perhaps you went off and you tried to do kind of some of this cross-dressing thing. And it was a major threat, even though he was straight, and so that shut him down and shut down a part of his creativity. And so then you have this choice.
Yeah.
You have a choice as a character, and the character makes a choice that then I have to continue to prove myself and go above and beyond to prove myself, so that I'm maybe all of a sudden these other friends of yours become like dad in a way. Another person that you have to prove that you are the masculine, you are the man that you're supposed to be.
Yeah. It's interesting, this line right too. I'm not going to drive 3 hours with all these guys, like, very macho. I'm not going to speak in such close quarters with these guys,
I honestly love that you pulled that line out of the page just by staring at it. Yeah, it's amazing how these lines start to come to life. They start to dance. They start to inform you so much. Yeah, now you know more about how to say that line.
Yeah.
Is there a way you're seeing your character? Do you feel like she's...
Then when he mentioned the hair thing with his dad, and then she says she likes it better when his hair is longer, because when his dad's away, he lets it grow out. So it's like that's, she likes his true self, and that's even like going back to where like a little bit of this violence kind of excites her. So it's like she loves
also the threat. Challenge. She
Yeah.
loves it when he challenges. Maybe you even thrive on him showing his manhood often.
I think she does. I think it excites her. Yeah.
And so it makes so much sense that you found each other, because you both are almost trying to dance in that same, or walk on the same ledge, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk about the joy of this. the pleasure of breaking this down and getting to know these characters, and just the inquiry and the conversation is such a, it might seem kind of intellectual in a way, but it isn't really. It lives in me now, these characters.
It's very playful.
Yeah, and light, and I wonder about this. This play is Bash by Neil LaBute, and I encourage you to read this now and to try to find more than what we just found. You never know what you will uncover, and thank you very much for sharing this with us.